like to address some of the Blue Book comments from the voter's guide that was sent out. The first thing I would like to make sure that our public understands is that everything published in the Blue Book, whether for or against an initiative, is based on comments that are sent in through official channels. The comments are to be printed as they are. They are not fact-checked. There's no process. I was astounded when I first understood that, but there is no fact-checking process. They are to be printed as they come in and as they are, as long as they are 500 words or fewer. So I do just want to address a couple of things in the Blue Book, and I'm trying to remain on a factual level here, but there were a few comments written against ballot initiative 5A and 5B that I would like to address. The first one, so I'm going to address about 7 different comments. The first comment around 5A states that by 2024, the school district's proposed MLO would add an additional $520 to property taxes to a home valued $1 million after the 2023 reappraisal. This is not true as written because 5A is a fixed dollar amount. So it's a $60 million mill levy override. And that $60 million mill levy override will impact our residents based on their current valuation, $1 per week per $100,000 in home value. When the home values do go up through the 2023 reappraisal, that $1 per week per $100,000 in current home value, that does not change because the $60 million is not tied to mills. It's a flat dollar amount. So in fact, by 2024 and beyond, the real dollar impact of 5A on our taxpayers will begin to diminish as there are more homes and businesses sharing in that same fixed $60 million mill levy override. The impact on any individual home or business will decrease over time. So I wanted to make sure to address that one. The next couple talk about average teacher salary and have some average teacher salary quotes that are correct. Our average teacher salary is indeed $58,000. And the Blue Book comment suggests that it's unfair to pick the highest salaries like Boulder and Cherry Creek to compare Douglas County School District to. Fair enough in the case of Boulder, but in the case of Cherry Creek, they are right across the border from us. Many of our teachers literally drive past Cherry Creek schools in order to get to Douglas County schools. So they truly are our closest competition and absolutely worthy of calling out. The next statement is that for the 13 largest districts in Colorado, the average teacher salary is $63,000. So the district is in the normal range. Well, the difference between $58,000, our average, and $63,000 is $5,000 a year, which is not insignificant. And of course, Douglas County is one of the most expensive places to live in the entire state of Colorado. So a statewide comparison in terms of average teacher salary is not entirely fair because it isn't where our teachers live and they don't live in rural Colorado. They live here in our area and need to be able to afford to live here and have their average teacher salary based on what they have in the metro area. So that's the difference there, although I thought it was great to call out that we're still $5,000 under the statewide average. That's really unfortunate. The next one is more money spent on education does not buy better outcomes. And the example is that we have better outcomes than Cherry Creek School District, and they're receiving much higher salaries. Therefore, yay, Douglas County, because we're doing such a great job with less money. And we certainly are proud of the value that our district offers our citizens. However, at issue for us right now is keeping our teachers. We are super proud that we are one of the best districts in the state of Colorado. And in fact, some of the numbers that we will look at today do show that we've outscored, for example, Cherry Creek in every area. And we're very proud of that. However, if we cannot keep the amazing teachers that are doing that great work, we will not be able to keep that level of performance. We have to keep the people that are performing that way in order for us to continue to keep our competitive edge. So this is less about new outcomes and more about making sure that we are preserving our position in our state and delivering the absolute best for our children. The next one says that if the school district gave teachers a 10% raise, the cost would be $5,800 per teacher. So they took 10% times the average teacher salary, times 4,400 licensed teachers is $25.5 million, which is not the $60 million that is being asked for. It's a fair enough question, but it is misunderstood. So first of all, the increase is for all of our 8,600 employees, not just teachers. And it is not just salary, it also includes benefits. And the big one is para. Just so our public fully understands, every time we give a teacher a $10,000 raise, the district pays an additional $2,100 to para for that teacher. So that $10,000 raise actually costs the district closer to $12,100, and then of course there are additional benefits such as Medicare, Medicaid that are based on salary.
I was just going to interrupt and ask if you would explain what para is, because this is such a great opportunity for education, and that is something that I think could benefit.
Thank you, Director Hansen. Para is the Public Education Retirement Association, and it is the retirement plan that our public schools participate in instead of participating in Social Security. So we do not pay into Social Security, and instead we pay into para for the retirement planning for our teachers. All public educators in the state of Colorado participate in para, so it is not a benefit that is unique to Douglas County. It certainly is available in all the other districts as well. It is also not a benefit that is optional to Douglas County. So we pay 21% of salaries into para on behalf of our teachers, and our teachers have to pay, I believe the number is now getting close to 11% out of their check to go into the retirement fund as well. So whenever you increase salary, the cost is not just in increasing salaries. So I laid out the numbers just for our public, and this can all be found on our website as well as in my presentations to this Board of Education. Of that $60 million, $44.5 million is the school district's share. The other $15.5 million goes to our district authorized charter schools for their compensation changes. They'll use it very similarly to how the district is using it. Of that 44.5 district million that is the district share, 31.2 million will go to licensed staff, so that's our teachers. 13.5 million will go to classified staff, and again, that covers both salaries as well as the additional cost for para, as well as any kind of benefits that are tied to salary dollars. And then the next one is, it talks about just this being a general fund money grab for the school district. And again, I just want to state that 5A, the language of 5A literally limits 5A to competitive compensation per the ballot language. So I just want to make sure that we are really clear on that front. Moving on to 5B, I'm going to just again address the ones that are perhaps a little bit misleading and share as much information as I currently can. There was a statement that some of the items that would be used in 5B, which is our bond, that is for capital expenditures, are actually current expenses that were otherwise already planned. That is not the case. All of the expenses laid out in the bond, one, they are all capital investments. They are not operational costs. They are capital investments. And those capital investments are not within our current capacity or our current plans because they are capital investments. So they are not current expenses. They are covered if the bond passes and only if the bond passes. Next is the idea that the district is overestimating future growth. And there are some numbers quoted here around stagnation in growth in our school district. And it is true, our growth, our district enrollment has been more or less flat for quite some time. A little up, a little down, but more or less flat. What I want to be sure that people know is that Douglas County School District is 844 square miles, which means that we are 2/3 the size of Rhode Island. So yes, on average, our growth is more or less flat. However, we have areas of significant growth, and we also have areas of decline. And the financially responsible and responsible to our citizens, our community, and our students of this district is to make sure that we are addressing both. So we need to be able to provide schools in communities that are new and growing and do not have access to schools but for a long bus drive and will eventually overwhelm the schools in the area. We also have an obligation to make sure that we are planning ahead for decline and make sure that we are working with our community to determine a plan for declining enrollment. Both of those things are the responsibility of this school district and of this Board of Education. So it is true that overall we are flat, but again, with 844 square miles, unfortunately, decline and growth in two completely different geographical areas is not helpful. We cannot pick up a school from a declining area and move it 10 miles south to an area that is growing. Okay, the next one also has to do with enrollment declining during the course of the pandemic. The change in enrollment in Douglas County School District between the 1920 school year and the 21-22 school year was 2,000 students down. The major driver of that was the closing of Hope Online's elementary program, so that, of course, those aren't Douglas County resident students generally, but it impacts Douglas County School District's enrollment as we are the authorizer of Hope Online. We certainly did lose a good number of students around the time of the pandemic for a whole wide number of reasons, and that is something that we are talking about a lot as a district, and I know the board is as well, on how we can make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students and bringing any of our students that left during the pandemic back home to our school district. That is something that we have a focus on. And then finally, the last statement states that while DCSD has many amazing teachers, and we sure do, parents are concerned about, quote, woke ideology indoctrination in the curriculum. Goes on to say that public education has lost its monopoly over parents and students. So I want to say a few things. As a school district, we are absolutely dedicated to promoting positive partnerships between our parents and our schools. We think partnerships between our parents and our teachers are absolutely critical to the success of all of our students, and that is something we work towards every day. As a district, we follow Colorado state standards, and our district administration is absolutely not pushing or endorsing any kind of woke ideology. We do encourage parents and teachers, again, to build those positive partnerships, which we know is best for kids. And if a parent in our district is ever concerned about something happening in their school or in their student's classroom, we would absolutely encourage that parent to respectfully reach out to the teacher and have a conversation about their concerns. The best way that we can promote partnerships between our schools and our teachers and our parents is to come together respectfully and have conversations. We absolutely respect our parents, and we respect our parents and what they are teaching their kids at home, and we want to make sure that we're working carefully with our parents to continue that work in our schools. Our teachers are doing amazing work. They have done so many amazing things in terms of growth, and again, as we look at scores in a little while, we are about to see how our teachers and our families working together, but our teachers really outperformed themselves from pre-pandemic. That is absolutely remarkable, and very few districts in our state or frankly in our country saw results like that, and we're incredibly proud of the really hard work that our teachers are doing. And so I cannot say enough that we really promote that relationship between our parents and our teachers, and our parents should absolutely always feel free to talk to their teacher their child's teacher if they ever see anything that concerns them in their child's classroom. And as a district, we are dedicated to doing everything we can to support that partnership, to support our amazing teachers, and we are so thankful for what they do every day, and most importantly, to make sure that our students are learning and growing and ready to lead tomorrow. So with that, if I'm happy to address any questions that I can, or I'm sure the Board of Education may have some comments around the Blue Book, but I wanted to make sure to state those comments from the perspective of staff. So thank you for indulging me in doing so.